He wasn't supposed to be home until Friday. Logan Sharp, CEO of Sharp Tech Enterprises, stepped into his pristine lakeside home 2 days earlier than planned. The jet-black Mercedes purred quietly into the garage, the rhythmic clicking of his dress shoes the only sound echoing through the vast marble foyer. His early return was meant to be a surprise, a rare chance to see his family without a calendar alert. He missed his daughter's piano recital last week, again. His wife, Claire, had been understanding, as always. But lately, something in her voice trembled during their calls, something he couldn't place. Guilt gnawed at him more than usual. So, he'd cancelled the last day of his investor summit, boarded a red-eye, and returned home with a bouquet in hand and a hopeful heart. He didn't expect the silence. Not from this house. No laughter. No footsteps. Not even the television humming in the background. He set down the bouquet on the kitchen island, his phone vibrating with unread emails. He was about to call Claire when he heard it. A faint sob. It wasn't coming from the bedroom or the living room. It was higher up. Logan followed the sound to the staircase, heart beating faster with every step. As he neared the second-floor landing, the soft sobs sharpened into something more broken. And that's when he heard her whisper. "Please don't tell Mommy." It was Emily. His 9-year-old daughter. Logan turned the corner and stood frozen in the hallway. Emily sat on the edge of her bed in her favorite yellow pajamas, clutching her teddy bear so tightly it seems looked ready to burst. But that wasn't what stopped Logan cold. It was her face. Red marks. Angry streaks across her cheek and temple. Swollen. Fresh. She looked up and gasped, eyes wide with the realization that her father was home and seeing her like this. "Daddy," she squeaked, clutching the teddy bear tighter. "Why, you're not supposed to be here." He took a step forward, trying to find his voice, but all that came out was, Who did this to you?" She looked away. The room was suddenly thick with silence again, but this time, it was different. It was filled with fear, and tension, and a secret that screamed behind Emily's lips. "I fell," she whispered. "Emily." "I said I fell," she shrieked suddenly, louder than he'd ever heard her. Her tiny body trembled, and her eyes welled with fresh tears. Logan knelt in front of her, hands gentle but urgent. "Sweetheart. Please. Tell me the truth." She just kept crying. He reached for his phone, ready to call Claire, but hesitated. Something was wrong, deeply wrong, and his instincts, the same instincts that built an empire, screamed at him to be still, to observe, to listen. "Where's your mom?" Emily didn't answer. He stood and walked down the hall toward the master bedroom. The door was slightly ajar. Claire wasn't inside. In fact, she wasn't anywhere in the house. Her purse and car keys were gone. So was her car. Logan returned to Emily's room. She had curled into the corner of her bed, shaking. "Did someone come into the house?" he asked softly. She shook her head. Was it someone you know?" Another pause. Then, a slow, reluctant nod. Logan's stomach churned. His jaw clenched tight enough to ache. "Emily, was it someone Mommy knows?" Her eyes met his for a second before she looked down again. Another nod. He sat on the edge of her bed, rubbing his hands down his face. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not here. Not in his house. He worked 20-hour days to protect this family, to build a life where nothing could touch them. So how had this happened right under his nose? "Do you want to go somewhere?" he asked. "Just you and me?" Her eyes flickered with hesitation, then softened. "Can we go to the cabin?" Of course. The cabin. The one place she always felt safe, his late father's rustic hideaway in the mountains, barely connected to civilization. Logan rarely used it now, but Emily had fond memories from when she was younger. Before the IPO, before the endless board meetings, before the nannies and private schools. Back when they were just a family. He packed her overnight bag and left a short note for Claire, took Emily to the cabin. Call me. No accusations. No panic. Just space. But inside, Logan's mind was on fire. The hour-long drive to the cabin was quiet. Emily fell asleep halfway, clutching the teddy bear like it was her last lifeline. Logan kept glancing at the marks on her face through the rearview mirror. He still hadn't processed it fully. He didn't even know who to be angry at. Not yet. But he would find out. When they reached the cabin, dusk was settling. Logan built a fire while Emily curled up under a blanket on the couch. They didn't talk much that first night. He made her mac and cheese from the emergency pantry. She smiled faintly for the first time in hours. That small smile gave him hope. The next morning, Logan stepped outside to call Claire again. Straight to voicemail. He tried again. And again. Still nothing. By noon, he sent a simple text, "We need to talk. Please." It's about Emily. He didn't want to scare her off. Not yet. Back inside, Emily was coloring at the old wooden table. The red marks on her face had started to fade into blotchy purples. She avoided the mirror. And every time Logan asked questions, she went quiet again. So, he stopped asking. He waited. Listened. On the third night at the cabin, she finally spoke. It wasn't Mommy, she said. Logan, who had been stoking the fire, turned slowly. It was the man who keeps coming over when you're not home, she added, her voice barely audible. Logan felt something inside him fracture. What man? I don't know his name. He has a loud voice. He smells like smoke. Mommy tells me to stay in my room when he comes. But yesterday, she wasn't home when he got there. Logan's chest tightened. What happened? I was in the kitchen. He got mad. Said I was spying. I told him I wasn't. But he grabbed me. And he hit me. Her voice cracked. Then he said if I told anyone, he'd hurt Mommy too. Logan stood still, the flames from the fireplace casting dancing shadows across his face. Emily looked up, tears sliding silently down her cheek. Am I in trouble? He walked to her, knelt down, and held her tight. You are not in trouble, baby. You're the bravest little girl I've ever known. She sobbed into his shoulder. And Logan made a silent vow. Whoever that man was, he would find him. And protect Emily at any cost. But first, he needed to know the truth. The full truth. And that meant going back. The next morning, Logan left early, just after sunrise, leaving Emily still sleeping soundly beneath her fleece blanket. He hated the idea of stepping away from her, even for a moment, but he needed answers. And he needed them now. He drove back to the city like a man possessed, hands clenching the steering wheel with the same tension buried in his chest. His first stop wasn't the police. He couldn't risk making Emily relive her trauma through cold interviews and bureaucratic procedures. Not yet. His first stop was his own house. Claire's car was back in the driveway. He didn't knock. He walked in, keys jangling as the front door swung open. The bouquet he had left on the kitchen counter 2 days ago had wilted. The silence returned, heavy and suspicious. Claire, he called out. Her voice came from upstairs. Logan? She appeared at the top of the stairs in a silk robe, her hair pulled up hastily like she hadn't expected visitors, especially not him. You're back, she said, eyes wide. He stared up at her. Where were you for the last 2 days? She blinked, thrown off. I went to my sister's place. I needed a break. Without telling anyone. His voice was low, not angry, just tired. I left a voicemail. No, Claire. You didn't. A moment passed. Her eyes narrowed. Why are you talking to me like this? Logan took a step closer. Emily is at the cabin. She's safe. Claire's hand gripped the stair railing. Why would she need to be safe? He looked at her with an expression she hadn't seen before, not in all their years together. She told me what happened. Her face paled. She told me about the man who comes over when I'm not home, Logan continued. The man who hit her. Claire sat down heavily on the top stair, stunned. She said that? You're not denying it. Logan's voice cracked for the first time. Claire shook her head slowly. Logan. I didn't know. What do you mean, you didn't know? A man hit our daughter. I didn't know he was dangerous. Claire's voice broke. I never left them alone before. I only went out for groceries, I swear. He's just someone I met after things started falling apart between us. After you missed her birthday last year. After you stopped coming home. Logan's hands trembled. And you thought bringing that man into our house was safe? I didn't think he'd hurt her. Claire cried. He was always so charming. But she was terrified of him, Claire, Logan interrupted, his tone sharp. She told me he threatened her. That he told her to stay quiet. Claire covered her mouth with her hands, tears running freely now. I didn't know. I swear to God, Logan. I thought I was still in control. Logan turned away from her, rubbing his face with both hands. What's his name? Claire hesitated. Tell me, Logan growled. His name is Derek, she whispered. Derek Miles. The name meant nothing to Logan. But it would. Soon. I need you to listen to me carefully, Logan said. I don't care what's been happening between us. I don't care about your choices right now. But I do care, more than anything, about Emily. If that man ever steps near her again, I will burn this world down. Claire nodded weakly. What are you going to do? I'm going to find him. He turned and walked out, slamming the door behind him. Logan didn't go to the office that day. Instead, he made a stop at a small detective agency tucked between an insurance firm and a pet grooming salon downtown. He had used them once before, years ago, during a lawsuit that involved corporate espionage. They were efficient. Discreet. Ruthless, if need be. Within hours, they tracked Derek's phone number, place of employment, and address. He worked as a regional manager at a car dealership 2 towns over. He had no criminal record but a few red flags on background, restraining orders filed years apart by different women. Nothing ever stuck. That changed today. Logan didn't confront him, yet. He needed a full picture. Evidence. Witnesses. Someone to corroborate Emily's story before Derek could claim it was all a misunderstanding. The detective agency agreed to conduct full surveillance. In the meantime, Logan returned to the cabin. Emily ran to him as he stepped through the door, flinging her arms around his waist. Did you see Mommy? She asked. He nodded. Yeah. We talked. Is she mad at me? Logan crouched to look her in the eyes. No, sweetheart. No one is mad at you. You did the right thing. You told the truth. She nodded, but he could see the shadow of guilt behind her eyes. Over the next few days, the cabin became their little refuge. They went for walks by the lake, made s'mores in the fireplace, and Logan even taught her how to make pancakes from scratch, like his father used to. Slowly, the color returned to her cheeks. The tension in her tiny shoulders eased. Then, one afternoon, Logan's phone rang. It was the detective agency. They had what he needed. A video. A recorded confession. Derek, in a bar, bragging about how he had to put the kid in her place. He'd had a few drinks and didn't realize he was being watched. He said Emily was getting nosy, and kids lie anyway. That was enough. Logan made 2 calls, one to his lawyer, and the other to the local police. Then he called Claire. "I'm pressing charges," he said. She didn't argue. She didn't cry. She just said, "Thank you." The trial didn't take long. Derek was charged with child endangerment and assault. The recorded footage and Claire's eventual testimony sealed the case. He took a plea deal and received prison time, plus a permanent restraining order from the Sharp family. Logan sat through the entire trial with Emily beside him, holding her hand the way she used to hold his finger when she was a baby. After the sentencing, Claire approached him outside the courthouse. "I know I failed her," she said. Logan looked at her for a long moment. "We both did, in different ways." She nodded. "What now?" He looked down at Emily, who was tracing circles with her toe in the courthouse gravel. "We start over," he said. "With her." Claire didn't argue. They agreed on joint custody, but Logan made changes, big ones. He stepped back from the company. Appointed a new CEO. Sold off his penthouse office suite. He bought a small home near Emily's school. One with a front porch and a swing set. He made pancakes every Sunday. He was home for every recital. And every time he kissed his daughter goodnight, he whispered the same thing in her ear. "No more secrets. Ever again."